What's up, guys? Welcome to Reselling Bootcamp Advanced Edition. In this video, we're going to show you guys how you can make $10,000 profit plus a month. Everyone here does at least $10,000 profit a month or has at least done one. I don't know. I haven't looked at their tax returns, but these people, they all do over 100K in Q4. Super legit, and I'm excited to dive in. So we're going to have John Side Hustle Experiment. He's actually going to go first today. He's going to share how to quit your job with the Amazon FBA, when to quit your job, in advanced OA sourcing techniques. Then Taylor Jones is going to show you how to intelligently spend 100K per month on product for Amazon FBA, and how he transitioned to wholesale. And then FBA Michaela's going to share how she quit her job, or not her job, but she was going to become a doctor. She decided not to go to medical school, and now she's doing over 100K a month on Amazon FBA. And then at the end, we'll be doing a Q&A. So be sure to stay until the end because we're going to answer some super commonly asked questions. And if you guys make mistakes, that sucks. And so you're going to learn from us to not make mistakes. And these questions that we're going to be answering, it's just basically you guys will be asking the questions, but they're super common mistakes to make sure that you guys don't make them. So without further ado, if you guys want to go around and introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll start with John and get into this.
Okay, I'll go first. What's good, guys? My name is Taylor Jones. Avery, thank you for having us on. John and Michaela, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
I started selling on Amazon 4 years ago, grinding in retail stores, and just kept, learning, failing. And now I am kind of half nomadic, half based here in Salt Lake, just averaging about like 150K revenue months, and just living the life. So.
Heck yeah. John?
I'm John, Side Hustle Experiment. Started with thrifting books, moved to bulk, and now I am totally online arbitrage to prep, basically. Sold over, I think, like 1.8 million on Amazon to date. Wish I would. That's like 3 years of books. If it was all OA, it would have been amazing. But yeah, now I do that full time, and thanks for having me.
100%. Miss Michaela?
Sweet. I'm Michaela, obviously, FBA Michaela. I started selling about 1.5 years ago. I started doing GPUs, and then I got into the world of Amazon, did OA, and then scaled my way up to $1 million in my first 12 months of selling. And now I'm 100% wholesale, and then I do real estate on the side.
Awesome. Sweet. Excited to have this panel for the Q&A at the end. This is a more advanced training, so if you guys do have questions, feel free to ask them below. We'll be answering all of them during the Q&A.
Can I hit Michaela with some real estate questions, or is this only Amazon?
You can ask her whatever you want during Q&A. All right, let's get into it.
Do it.
Boom. Take it away, John.
All right.
You want to share your screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, pop it up there, and I'll get it up there for you. Awkward silence. Boom.
Boom.
All right. If you guys want to quit your job, start taking notes. I'll let you take it away, man.
All right, cool. So I'm going to go over exactly kind of how I quit my job. A lot of people don't kind of talk about like almost the process. I think a lot of people are kind of like afraid to know like kind of what really goes into it. So I'm going to kind of cover everything that goes into it. And here we go. So this is how I started. This was basically my first shipment of books. Yes, I know, not that smart to send 7 or 8 books at a time, but I was really excited to get started and wanted to get proof of concept. So I just sent this box of books. That Art of Demotivation, that book sold for $40. That was the first one. I paid $2 for it. I thought it was a total scam. Turns out it wasn't. It sold 2 weeks later. And then I went off to the races, started thrifting books, got into bulk books, had 2 storage units, eventually upgraded to a 4,500 square foot warehouse. But I really quit my job when I had the bulk book operation in the storage unit, and then eventually scaled up to the warehouse. So one of the best parts about quitting your job is you don't have to do your job anymore, like something you hate. So for this was the email that my boss sent out saying that my last day was October 4th. And that like I basically had an Amazon business that has been doing well. So that was really cool. So one of the first things you have to consider is your business profitable? So a lot of people will share orange bars. This is a screenshot from a random person on Twitter. So you have to know if your business is actually profitable and can you take money out of the business. It's very different to be like, oh yeah, I did 258K for the last 3 months, but if you're only making like 2 to 5% on that, like, and you need to keep buying inventory, that's not going to be enough. So you have to really understand your numbers. Make sure you could actually pull out money of the business, because most of the people who are doing a 9 to 5, basically your Amazon money just keeps getting rolled back into the business. Things definitely change when you have to take money out of the business. So you want to make sure your business is profitable. Next, I had an emergency fund. It really depends how you want to handle this. I had 6 months emergency fund and about 3 months of business expenses saved up and inventory. For me, I'm a little bit more risk averse. This was a big deal for me to actually quit my job. So I wanted to make sure I had plenty of money aside. So basically, if I didn't take a penny from the business or the business made no money, I could live exactly how I was living for about 6 to 8 months. You don't have to have 6 to 8 months. I recommend you have something. For me, it was just like, it was easy to grow the business and just have like a clear mind being like, you know what, I'll be fine if this like doesn't go according to plan. So having an emergency fund, it's really hard to build it up. But if you could just use your 9 to 5 money or pull some of the money out of the business to kind of grow a fund this way, when you have it, or if you need it, luckily I didn't need it. But having it just gave me a ton of peace of mind to just be like, you know what, you got this, do what you have to do with Amazon, and don't worry about it. The next is you need to have money for inventory. So a lot of people will quit their job, and I have people ask me this all the time. Like, yeah, I quit my job, I have all this time in my hands, but I don't have any money for inventory. So you have to realize, like, when I first quit, I was doing books. So I'd go to thrift stores. So now all of a sudden I could like thrift 40 hours a week if that's what I wanted to do with that time. But that requires more money. At first, I was just thrifting on the weekends and a little after work. So I didn't really need much money. But then when I started getting into bulk and buying books in bulk, and you're spending $2,000, $3,000 a load, you have to have money to, one, sustain that, and two, continue to ramp it up so your business can grow. So make sure you have money for inventory. If you're doing books, plan on that, because you're leaving your business to grow. You're leaving your full-time job to grow it. So you're going to need more money to grow. What you currently have or what you're currently spending is probably going to double or triple. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about quitting. This one was a big one for me. Best case, worst case. Doing this, you're just basically saying, what is the best case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? And could I live with both? Basically, the worst case scenario would be like the business doesn't work out. So then what are my options? I go back to my old job, or I get a new job. I was a copywriter. I could do that freelance. I could work for an Amazon software company doing copywriting. I had a lot of different things I could do. I was also young enough where I'm like, well, if I had to work for another 30 years in the 9 to 5, like, I'd still be young enough to do that. And the best case was I make a ton of money. I get to live life on my terms, and I don't have to go to a 9 to 5 anymore. I have like pretty much the ultimate freedom at this point. I was just thinking about it today. It's like, I get to decide when I go to the gym. I get to decide if I want to source. I get to decide my entire day. So always just knowing the best case, worst case. And it was so clear to me that the worst case would never happen. Like the worst case is like your business goes under, you're in a ton of debt. Like it just wasn't going to happen. Like that's how I get. And I would have pulled the plug or just figured it out before it even got that bad. So it also helped me realize kind of like how ridiculous of a scenario it was. It made me feel even better about the situation. Paying yourself first. So this is important. One of the best things I did was before I actually quit, I pretended like I was going to pay myself. So I basically would take money out of the business to see how it felt. I feel like it's a lot easier to be like, oh yeah, I could take like $2,000 out if that's what you want your number to be, or 1,000 or whatever you need to live. But once it leaves the bank account, it becomes very real. And you kind of just want to know like how that feels. For me, it felt really good. I was fine with it. You could always move the money back, but actually knowing what it's like to take money out of the business for the first time, especially if you've been like rolling it, it's definitely a different feeling. And if you do that for 2 or 3 months, you're like, oof, I don't have money for inventory, or, I can't pay the credit card bill. Well, before you quit, you can at least know that and you can make some adjustments. Health insurance. So health insurance is a big one. That was the scariest one for me. Everyone's like, how do you get health insurance? How does it work? It's actually really not that complicated. So for me, there's something called COBRA. Now, this is different by your state. So I'm just going to talk about my experience. But basically, COBRA is you could stay on the same insurance you have with your work. You just pay what your employer pays for it. So, for example, I was paying like $250 a month for health insurance. It just come out of my check. But then when I went full time or for myself, I had to pay the company $550 for the health insurance. And I got to keep my same coverage. It lasted for about 3 months. Sometimes it lasts longer than that. It just really depends on the company and kind of what they're doing. And then after that, you could buy insurance through your state's marketplace. So if you Google, let's just say, health insurance Florida, something will pop up and you'll be able to buy it. It's really not that complicated. It's kind of the same process. If you work a job now, how you would pick your plan, you do the same thing. This is what scares most people. It is not scary at all. So don't worry about it. The next one is for anyone who doesn't know, this is Caleb Roth. Run your plan by an expert. So I sent Caleb all my money, or all what I had, kind of what my sales were. I sent him my book tracking sheet. I was like, he's like a wizard when it comes to numbers. So I was just like, what do you think about this? Like, do you think this is a solid plan? Do you think I have enough money to like make this work? And he just kind of laughed and he was like, I've never seen someone so prepared and have this type of emergency fund and all this other stuff. You will be fine. So that would just kind of help, like knowing someone who really, really knows numbers well and knows the business and was much further along than I was to be like, yeah, you're good to go, man. I knew I was, but like just kind of extra insurance was just super helpful. Then, yeah, the last one is do a practice run. So this was one of the biggest, like most helpful things for me. So what I did was I had like 2 weeks vacation, which really sucked, but that's all I had. So I basically did 1 week. I pretended like I was full time. So I mapped out the entire week. Like, what would I be doing if I was full time? And if you can't really map this out or figure out what you would be doing, I don't think you're probably ready to quit. So I did a full week. I wanted to see if I liked it. Was there enough books around? Like, what would I be doing? It went really well. So I did one in like the summer and then one in the winter to get like 2 different seasons. Both went really well. And it just really solidified in my mind, like, this is what I want to do. This is great. I love how this feels. For some people I know, they go full time, they don't like it, and then they get a job again. So doing a practice run is like a real low key way to figure out, do you really want to do this? If you take a week off and then you don't do anything and don't source, like you probably should keep your job until you kind of figure out this stuff. but doing a practice run and figuring out like exactly what I've been doing really helped me plan out the business and solidify what I want to be doing, and was super helpful. And that's what I got. You can follow me, Side Hustle Experiment. Me and Michaela do a podcast every Friday. We're doing one tomorrow. If you want to
Subscribe to
avoid
the
brain
YouTube channel
thinking.
below. You guys are watching on YouTube
Yeah.
right now, so be sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel. All the speakers, or at least the speakers that you like.
Yeah. So that's
All right,
how you-
Mr. Jones. If you guys have questions for John, we'll be running Q&A in just a little bit here, so hang tight. And I already see some questions coming in, so good. Appreciate you, John.
All right. Thank
Drop
you.
a 1 in the chat for John, guys. Drop a 1 if we can't hear you guys clapping. So
You know what? I love hearing that, man, because I was like the complete opposite. I kind of did not prepare at all. I just jumped into the dark abyss. So to hear you map out exactly how in what you did to prepare leaving, I think a lot of people that have that type of personality are going to get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, because I was like stuck on all that stuff, and then I was like, sure, a lot of other people are stuck on that.
Absolutely. See, I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I plan too much, I'll overthink it, you know?
Yeah.
all right, Mr. Jones, you ready to rock and roll?
I am ready. Yep. I'm just going to, I literally redid my whole presentation like last minute. So for the people, I was like, you know what? We're going to make sure the people get the sauce today.
Let's go.
Okay. How do I share my screen?
Just click on present at the bottom.
Okay.
All right, John. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Kick him out. Just like that.
Okay. Can you guys see?
Put it up there. Take it away, man.
Okay. Awesome. Avery, thank you so much for having me on today, man. I'm super excited. I always get excited to be able to give back to the community. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through, and hopefully in the most exciting way possible, the fastest way to make $10,000 profit per month. Now, before I say anything else, guys, please be patient with yourself. It took me probably like a year and a half to even have my first $10,000 profit per month. And then it took me another year and a half to be able to even do that consistently. So anyways, let's jump right in. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know me, that's me on the right there with Avery at the Miami conference we hosted last year. Started selling in January, did RA, done OA, currently doing wholesale. Sold 1.2 million in the last 12 months. I love to travel. And the most important thing you guys will understand about me is that I got into Amazon for the sole reason that I wanted my time back. I wanted to be able to leverage Amazon so that I can do other things. Guys, I literally work a few hours a week, and I'm going to hopefully be able to knock away some beautiful points today to help you guys to be able to do the same. So December of 2019, guys, it goes way back. Now, before I jump into some of the strategies and what you guys should be focusing on to get to 10K a month profit, I'm going to just briefly tell my story to hopefully inspire some of you guys to let you know that you're not that far away from it. Okay. So December 2019, guys, I was broke as shit. Okay. I was absolutely broke. I had no money. I was working a job. Well, I guess I did have money. I was making $40,000 a year as a sales rep, you know, for Xerox, and I hated my job. I went into a TJ Maxx and I was like, I watched a Gary Vee video. I was like, I'm going to try to see if I can just buy something and flip it. And I found this Robert Graham shirt. I bought it for $40 and sold 5 of them for 80. I made like $30 a piece. I made like $150, $200. I was stoked. Stumbled into Amazon a little bit afterwards and then really just took it off from there. I went all in. I quit my job 3 months later, literally in March of 2020. Today, I didn't have this slide ready, but today, basically what I'm doing today is I now live in Salt Lake City here with my girlfriend, and we get to travel 5 to 6 months out of the year. I get to make 6 figures a year doing Amazon and spending very little time doing it. Okay, so that's what I hope to get you guys across by the end of this presentation, is that if you focus on the right things, there's plenty of opportunity for everyone to make a lot of money, and you don't have to fight over all these silly little OA leads. Okay, so let's jump in. Step one, I'm going to break this down as simple as I can. Okay. Now, most of you guys that are watching, again, this is an advanced course that Avery's put together today, a boot camp. Step one, understand the basics. And I'm guessing most of you guys already have this step completed, which is good. But you really need to understand Keepa and sales volume, and you need a track record. I'm talking at least 3 to 6 months track record of that you can find profitable items and buy them for a profit and do that correctly 80% of the time. Okay, that's what you need. You need a 3 to 6 month track record. And you, in order to prove that you can do this, that's what you need. Now, step two. I see so many people. And again, before I want to preface the next 3 steps to how I believe the fastest way that you guys can make $10,000 a month. There is a million ways to do this. I have friends, Steve Rakin, Checkmate Flips, that are going to say things that maybe contradict what I'm going to say here. They're doing eBay to Amazon. Maybe they're looking for ASINs that are only selling 5 to 10 units a month. That's great. I'm not throwing shade at them because but just know there's a million ways to make money on Amazon. Listen to this with a open mind and ask what makes the most sense for you. Okay. So in my opinion, stop wasting time on items that sell less than 100 units per month. Guys, every ASIN that you have is like a little child that you have to take care of. You have to monitor the price. You have to manage the risk. What if you get restricted on that ASIN and you have to pull it out of Amazon, and then you have to get approval, and then you have to get compliance? There's so many things that you need to do, like choose your children wisely. Now, you can't choose your children, right? But you get what I'm saying, right? So my biggest piece of advice is, once you understand the basics and you're getting ready to go take your business to that next level, make a commitment to, I'm not going to buy the next product unless it's going to make me at least $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Maybe that's a little bit of an overestimate. But if you set that as your new standard, eventually you're going to find a product. It might take you a few weeks, but eventually you're going to find a product that lets you make $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Okay. Last point here. The faster your items move, the faster you can roll the profits into your business. The biggest mistake I made my first couple of years is I would sit on items for months. Oh, but it's 100% ROI. Guys, time is money in this business. Okay. So first, step one, we got the basics. We got the track record. We're committing to finding high volume ASINs that make us $3,000 to $5,000 a month. What is the next step? The next step, before we can do anything else, is you guys have to know your numbers. Until I did this, it took me 2 years in my business before I got a bookkeeper. And then I have amazing softwares like GoToLister that let me track my profit down to the dollar. GoToLister also gives you guys an accurate breakdown of your average sales price, which is going to help you track your net worth and how much your inventory is based at. Okay. You need to know what you're selling and how much money you're making, even if it's $1,000, $2,000 a month, where you guys are at right now. If you want to get to that 10, 20K profit, you have to know exactly, you have to have an accurate feedback system from, and for example, if you're a day trader, you trade crypto, you're going to know exactly how much money you made or lost on every single trade. You need to treat Amazon. I have a lot of friends that don't do this. You need to treat Amazon like a day trader. It's a science and a mathematical system of criteria before you make a buying decision. And if you don't know how well your trades are doing, then you cannot take your business to the next level. Okay. Next thing, when you guys have all of that, we got the track record, 3 to 6 months. We know our numbers. We're going to make a commitment to $3,000 to $5,000 profit ASINs. Okay. The next thing is you fuel the fire. You cannot jump steps. If you guys are missing anything I just talked about, you're going to possibly walk into danger here. But I'm telling you guys from my experience too, and there's other people that don't agree with this, But the best thing that I have ever done in my Amazon business is use other people's freaking money. Amex has been a pain in the ass for me. They've limited some of my cards. I've had so much difficulty sometimes. Guys, I have taken in the past 2 years, I've taken more than $200,000 worth of investors' money and paid back all of it. And it's been made all the difference. Okay. So once you have all of these stepping stones that I covered today, the best thing you can do is pour money. Now pour intelligently, right? If you have a gas can, you don't want to just open the spout and just start spilling it everywhere, but maybe start with $10,000 loan, pay that back in 3 months. Then say, hey, I think I want to do 25 and work up to $50,000, $100,000 loans. And you got to be a salesperson to convince other people that you're worthy of their money. This will be the greatest decision that you ever make. And there's plenty of people, I'm sure, in your network. And if there's not, you got to go out and find them. Get on Instagram and start making content. Okay. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to save all of the nitty gritty strategies for Michaela, guys. The next person that's going to be sharing is FBA Michaela. I believe she's been in the wholesale game longer than me. I've technically only been doing wholesale now for 8 months. Actually, even last probably 6 months. She's been doing this longer than me. So I'm going to save the strategy for her, but I'm going to give you guys the overview. How to spend $100,000 a month on OA or wholesale. This is the biggest thing that people get wrong. You got to start with the product, okay? Then go to the supplier, and then that's when you can go to an investor and say, hey, I'm ready for capital, okay? Don't say, oh, I'm going to reach out to wholesalers. This is the biggest mistake people make, I feel like. Oh, I set up 30 accounts. Guys, what does that matter if you set up 30 wholesale accounts and you have all of these catalogs? If they don't have any, you don't even know what to buy. Like, I genuinely believe that is not the way to get into wholesale. I believe the best way to get into wholesale is to find high price selling ASINs and profitable brands. Usually it's a series of brands that their items are high value and there's a locked in supply chain. It's very clean. It's not scattered everywhere like Nike socks. You can get Nike socks from anywhere and their mother can get them, right? So that's what you want to do. Go use softwares like Smart Scout, or maybe look at your OA catalog, right? And say, okay, I got 100 products on my OA catalog. What are the top 2 or 3 best brands? What are my most profitable brands? Then take those categories. Maybe it's like beauty products. Then with that, then you go to the suppliers and say, okay, here's 100 OA products. I have my top 2 to 3 brands. They're all beauty products. I'm going to go find beauty suppliers on Google Maps that sell these brands. And I'm going to keep contacting suppliers until I get better and better pricing. Maybe you can go to the brand directly. I don't have any brand direct relationships, so I'm not going to touch on that today. But think about it like this, guys, because when you understand wholesale from an overview like this, it's going to make way more practical, simple sense to you. Okay. So I think that's honestly it. I don't have too much more. Yeah, that's it. So the last thing I will say, okay, I want to finish up with this, Avery. The last thing I'll say, I know that was very overview, guys, but I want you to really think wholesale is really, a lot of people get intimidated. And Michaela, maybe you can expand on this. Oh, it's so intimidating picking up the phone, calling the supplier. Guys, it's really simple. You just send an email. They're people that want to make money. And if you have 10, 15 grand and they can make a few grand doing little to nothing, they're going to take your business. And if they won't, you move on to the next person. So.
Yeah. And before this call, Taylor was like, I kind of feel like a fraud. Like, I haven't been setting up suppliers. And I'm like, dude, like, you get a wife once, hopefully, maybe twice, maybe 3 times in your life. But hopefully it's like, if you're good at it, you can do it one time. You know, and it's the same thing with wholesale suppliers. Like, if you're getting 30 new accounts every week, who gives a shit? How much profit are you making?
Yeah.
How much product are you able to buy each week? I asked Scott Needham at Miami Sellers Conference in 2021. I said, well, you know, what's your outreach? Because everyone's always talking about outreach. He's like, we don't do any more. We have enough. I mean, he had like 600, but you know, I mean, you have what, a couple, and you're able to spend. You're actually limited on capital. You're
Exactly.
spending what, 100K a month?
Yeah,
But
and
how much would you be spending?
ideally, if you're doing the wholesale game right, and you're building these relationships, and you're treating them as people, and you're nurturing that relationship, you know, they're going to give you more suppliers, and you hopefully can order from them for a long time, you know?
Yeah, 100%. If you guys want to learn more from Taylor Jones, oneaceandaway.com. He put together a course, me and him did, that goes over like a lot of product stuff. So we go over like analyzing what makes a good product. Again, that's oneaceandaway.com. That'll also put you in our Discord. You'll get notified about events like Miami Seller Conference is coming up soon in February 10th or 17th. So if you guys want to come network with sellers live, come through. Trying to get my little recording of that up. What's up, Michaela? How you doing?
Good.
You ready to rock and roll with your
Yeah.
non-slide?
We got this. Yeah, my slides weren't that good either. Michaela, you got the
It's for noobs. Just saying.
Yeah, so Miami Sellers Conference coming up.
Miami Sellers Conference. Commit to expanding your network by the best Amazon event of the year. Visit MiamiSellersConference.com today to save your seat.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So that we're coming out with pre-sale tickets. We're actually going to meet tomorrow about that next week or so. But we're going to have a stacked lineup this year. Hopefully Gary Vee will be there. I'm going to speak that into existence. We're going to reach out to him. But Miami Seller Conference is going to be amazing. So be sure to get your tickets for that. And let's dive into Michaela's presentation or whatever you want to do, Q&A. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
We'll get you back on here in a second. Cool. All right, you just want to run Q&A, or do you have like a little story to tell us?
Yeah, I could talk. Totally.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
My topic
I told them that you were going to tell them how you were going to go to medical school, but you decided not to. So
that's a really long story. I could definitely tell you that, and some more important information in there as well. So I went to college, obviously, to become a doctor. I was a pre-med student. Ever since I could remember, honestly, I have pictures from when I was 6 years old wearing a doctor's coat and a stethoscope. That's what I wanted to do my entire life. Never saw a path outside of me being a doctor. I've spent hundreds of hours volunteering. I got 2 bachelor's degrees. Like, I was full sending medical school, and I actually had an acceptance at a medical school in Ohio. And that's when I first graduated back in 2021. And I had to have hip surgery because I had surgery on my hip prior to that and it was messed up. So I was on medical deferment for a year. And during this period of time, I was given the 1 year deferment for my private loans. So I really wasn't too concerned about, getting a job until the end of that first year came and I saw the student loan payment balance. And I was like, oh my God, like I have to make money somehow, because at the time I was having surgery like every 6 months because my legs were super messed up. So I was like, I can't work a traditional 9 to 5. Like, I do have obviously degrees and stuff. I can obviously get a job in that, but this doesn't really work with my surgery timelines. So I ended up picking up reselling, and I was reselling consoles and GPUs, on Facebook Marketplace. And then somebody at the time was like, hey, do you know anything about botting? And I was like, no. And he told me a little bit about it, and I got into botting and cook groups. And that was almost 3 years ago now. And I was selling on eBay for a little while, and then the GPU market crashed, and then everybody was getting consoles left and right. So that kind of fizzled out, and I was introduced into the world of Amazon. And around this time was whenever I actually got my official acceptance for the following year. And I had every intention of going. I put my deposit down. I actually got an apartment down there. Like I said, I never imagined I was going to take my reselling like full-time or sell on Amazon, to this day. But fast forward to February, and I actually started my store for the second time because I gave up. I think it was in the end of December, and I saw the ungating process. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to mess with that. So I quit selling on Amazon, and then I was in this little mentoring group through my cook group Malice, and started again and ended up sticking that time. So I sold, like I said, 1.3 million in my first 12 months. And around, that was April, whenever I had my surgery on my left ankle in order to go to medical school because I needed it in order to survive through the day. And I thought that it was going to be my path to going back to school, and ended up being what caused me not to go back to school. So I had to have my surgery on it again. And so this leads us up to like June, and I had to make the decision, like I couldn't take another medical deferment because I'd already taken 2. And so they told me, like, this is it for you. Like, it's either you go or you don't. And I ended up making a decision not to go and to do Amazon full time. So at this point in time, I really wasn't doing crazy numbers. I was making maybe 2 to 3 grand a month. Really didn't have like the proof of concept of like making real internet money. But shortly after, it was the back to school season, and I had my first 100K month, and I hit my first 10K month in profit. And so the moral of the story is sometimes things don't work out exactly how you imagine it. And sometimes you got to make whatever you can out of it. And at that time, I was blessed that, you know, I made it work. And some of the best people in this industry that I've met and that had the most success have been in situations where their backs are against the wall, and they had to make this work, or they were in a spot that they didn't want to be in. So like, I knew I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 other than becoming a physician. Like, there was just no way in my mind I'd ever want to work any other job. So I knew, like, hey, if you're giving this up, like, you have to make this work. And, you know, obviously I made it work. And looking back, I was like, that was real ballsy. But like I said, once your back's against the wall, it's make or break it. You have to do what you have to do. So I put the time in. I literally spent 6 to 10 hours a day just sourcing for that summer. I had no life whatsoever.
And that was online arbitrage at first, right?
Yep, I did. The first, from February to about August, was online arbitrage. I did my first 100K month with OA in July, I believe it was. And then I started transitioning into wholesale, which is the second segment of my topic. And then I fully transitioned to 100% OA in March of this year. So now I've been doing it for almost a year. It'd be like the end of this month would be a full year of wholesale, technically. So yeah, the second part of my topic was talking about 100K. How do you get to that point? And I think it kind of stems back from you transitioning from OA to wholesale. So people seem to think that like it's this big feat, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, going from OA to wholesale, like this is like a huge transition. It's really not, because if you've mastered or gotten at least good at the basics of like Keepa, you know, finding good products, that kind of thing, it's really not that big of a transition. The only thing, in my opinion, is the risk, obviously, because you can technically test buy in wholesale, but it's not the test buying that you think whenever you're doing OA. Because when you're doing OA, you could literally go to Nike right now and buy a single pair of shoes and be done. And that's it. That's your test buy. With wholesale, you can't just be like, hey, wholesaler, I need 1 bar of Dove soap just to see if I can, you know what I mean, I can sell through this. They won't do that. Obviously, there's MOQs, and that might be a quantity like, you know, 5, 10, 20, 50, whatever, or maybe a dollar amount. It may be a pallet's worth. Like it's totally different. It's not, you know, standard across the board. So yeah, that's like the biggest hurdle for people, is going from OA to wholesale. But like I said, if you really get good at OA and you master those, you know, the Keepa, obviously getting good at, you know, determining what's a good buy, what's a bad buy, then you will be, it's an easier transition. You just have to kind of build upon it. And wholesale and going to 100K months relies on 2 things, in my opinion: capital and confidence. Okay. Obviously you have to have capital in order to do 100K months. To do 100K month, you roughly have to spend about $50,000 in inventory. So you have to have $50,000 in order to buy $50,000 worth of product. So whether that be cash, credit card, you get an investor, whatever, line of credits, whatever you may have to do, you have to have capital. And then confidence is probably the main thing. And that kind of ties back to what I said, you know, getting really good at Keepa. You don't have to fully master Keepa, but as long as you can prevent yourself from getting yourself into a giant hole by buying like a pallet's worth of something when you should have only bought 5 cases or whatever. It just, you know, it just boils down to your skills. And it comes with time and experience. So don't think that you're going to turn around and go from OA to wholesale and do, you know, 100K months in like a month. like it takes time. You kind of have to build up. Just like with OA, you want to start small and build your way up. But with time, you could hit 100K months and beyond that. Was that good for my presentation without slides?
That was amazing. That was amazing. So yeah, we'll dive into Q&A. I'll get the other speakers up here. Boom. You guys have questions before-
Wow. I didn't even plan that.
Drop a 1 in the chat for Michaela. You guys can ask questions for everybody. Taylor, Michaela, John. It can be online arbitrage. It can be wholesale. It can be used books. Whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yerba mate. I talk about caffeinated beverages. One of my favorite topics.
Drop a 1 in the chat also if you, or drop a 2 in the chat if you like caffeine. We got all these 1s coming in for Michaela. Taylor Jones. Drop 2 1s. All right, guys. I'll go back. We'll start with these questions probably from John's talk, and we'll bang it out.
Let's go.
What keywords should I search Google for Gaylords of books? I'm looking to buy 1 or 2 at a time, and I've not been able to find any locally in the St. Louis area.
Louis area, I wouldn't Google anything. You have to go to like your local thrift stores, libraries, anyone who sells books or cheaply. I would probably, if you have donation bins, this is one of the best ways to find them. Find a clothing donation bin. There most likely be a book bin next to it. I think by law they have to have like contact information on that. So call that phone number or Google that company, reach out to them, say you want to buy in bulk. Another thing you could do, which I don't know, if you want to, you can post in a Facebook group for booksellers and be like, hey, I'm looking to get started in bulk. A nice bulk bookseller might sell you 1 to 2. Gaylords I'm not in a lot of the Facebook groups anymore, but I remember all the time bulk people would post like, hey, like we got extra books like in this area if you want them, and then you could go hustle and find them. But they're not on Google. You gotta kind of hit the ground, call locally. Another good way to do would be like donate books to your thrift store. When you go to donate, be like, oh, do you guys get like a lot of book donations? And be like, oh yeah, we get so much. You'd be like, do you sell them in bulk? And that could get like your foot in the door to kind of get it going.
100%. And if you guys come across textbooks in those Gaylords and you can't sell them, you guys can send them to restrictedinventory.com. This is a service where I sell your textbooks for you at a 50-50 split net profit.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
That business, literally, I gave up all my Amazon accounts for that business. I was doing wholesale. I was doing 25K profit months, but now I can't sell on Amazon because I used to sell on a bunch of different accounts, and currently I'm still shut down. But restrictedinventory.com is still in business. So if you guys send us textbooks, we'll sell them on my partner's account and split profits with you 50-50. Taylor, when you say you make 6 figures each year, do you mean that's your take-home pay, or is that your total income? In other words, do you make more or less than a McDonald's worker?
That's a good question. You know what? I'm going to be totally honest. I am tracking my exact profit. Like every month, every week, I get a report from my bookkeeper, so I know how much profit my business is making, but I don't really track how much I'm taking out per se. I guess that would be it's probably, I don't really know. I mean, yeah,
this year you're going to make at least 200K this year.
Right now I'm at like 170. And I mean, I guarantee you I've rolled back at least most of that, probably 60% of that.
Yeah. And so like, I mean, that's still your money though. Like you can still, like, if you wanted to, you could probably liquidate that inventory in like a month. If you really had to, you could just tank the prices and get that money back.
Yeah.
So he's putting it back in the business. But a lot of times when people say they're putting money back in their business, they're paying for advertising costs. They're paying for warehouses. They're paying for employees. Like they're putting it all back in the business. Taylor's putting it back in the business, but he can pull it out whenever he wants to. That's kind of the difference. Like a lot of Amazon sellers, they build this, it's not a nest egg, but they build this giant inventory valuation. And, you know, the key is like, Watch Me Amazon always says this, like, stay liquid. like pull out as much cash as you can from your business and put it in different things. He even said like put it in a Rolex watch, like fuck it. Like it's better to have something to show for it. That way anything can happen. Amazon
That's
can
why
shut
I
your
just
account
bought a
down.
brand new motorcycle.
Did you really? And a gun.
And a gun.
You're going out there putting it on all these depreciating assets. Romer, how often do you give away rollover printers? Almost every time I do one of these. I'm not doing one today, but yeah, almost every live. So I'd say 2 or 3 a month. Gary V would be amazing. See what other questions we got in here.
I DM'd one of his like music people, but he never got back to me. So I was like, shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna write him an email. I want Gary V to do one segment on content and then one segment on e-commerce, because I do feel like he's got good perspectives on e-commerce.
I feel like if we got Gary Vee there, it'd kind of be like a slip of like, oh my God, is this real life?
Yeah, it'd be trippy.
Do
you guys think that Taylor looks like Gary V? Drop a 3 in the chat if so.
I don't think so, especially with this home.
Look and sound like him.
I just literally
people on TikTok said like he was trying to be Gary V.
Yeah, I get people on Xbox that think I'm like a girl for whatever reason. My voice sounds high pitched. I don't know why. Like,
Michaela, how do you get wholesale deals?
Well, apparently I didn't really know this, but somebody on Twitter was saying that girls have a higher success rate. So I don't know if we're slipping some stuff in on the email or what, but I was like, no, just kidding. No, but somebody really did say that. It kind of grind my
gears. You have a picture of yourself on your email? Like a little
yeah.
Oh, you do? That might be a trick.
Well, I guarantee it because
are you joking or are you serious?
No,
I was gonna say
no, I can't disclose the information, okay?
I could totally see that. I mean, think about it. As a guy, we're like, oh, we're so curious. Like, oh, I wonder if this girl's cute. Let me give her an account.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Well, I'm just genuine.
It's actually reality.
Like if I was a 35-year-old single dude and I had a huge distribution account and some random dude called me for some random girl and the girl kind of there's this curiosity. Like, I don't know, maybe that's the factor. Is that a genuine factor that girls actually get a higher percentage of accounts open, or you just made that up?
I think it could be true. You got these dudes without girlfriends talking to people all day.
Nope.
Maybe.
Michaela's like, nope, I get rejected all the time. Nope.
Why are you drinking Windex? Michaela says Pimp Rogers.
Why are you drinking Windex? Oh my!
What is that?
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That's cream soda.
Oh, okay, nice.
But going back to the question, how do you get accounts? I use Google. Everybody says that and they're like, oh, that's not true. No, like literally we just use, my team and we use Google and we just go based on, East Coast versus West Coast, and we use Google Maps.
Heck yeah. Who's going to be at ASD? None of us, right?
No, I bet us take care of.
Yeah. Somebody says free roamer. Appreciate that. Sadiq. Do you guys try to stick to certain niche or niches, or do you guys go sell any category? I'll let all you guys take that, actually.
Let's John go.
Me, I stick to probably 3 or 4 different categories. I more like to master stores other than categories. If I find a store that won't cancel orders and won't limit me, I'll just try to buy as many profitable products at that store. So those stores are hard to find. But when you get started, I would say maybe do something you're into video games. Like obviously you have a little bit of an edge of like what's coming out or what's popular, what sales are going on. So start there, and then as you grow, you could definitely scale out into other categories.
Yeah, I would say that every time the same thing I mentioned earlier about like an ASIN, each ASIN that you decide to buy is like a new potential risk. In the same way, like if you're buying, there's like how many categories are there? 13, 14?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, if you're venturing into a new category every 2 months, like how are you supposed to become an expert at that? So
and different categories, they bring different challenges that you might not expect. Seller Amp's not going to tell you these challenges.
Shoes have returns. Clothing has, this.
expiration
Yeah,
dates.
yeah. It may even be something like a cease and desist letter, and it may be a cease and desist letter that doesn't matter, or it may be one that could get you sued. And like once you're comfortable with a category, you can say, "Oh, here's a cease and desist letter," but I know they don't do shit, or you just know different things about the category. So every time you change, there's unknowns. So I would definitely niche down.
I
Michaela,
think you
what's your
brought up a
opinion?
great point though, like your analogy of like every ASIN's like a kid. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly how it is. Like you have to take care of it. Like there's risks. It's annoying. Like
Yeah,
there's
like
all
and here's why I say that too. I actually just started internalizing this message like actually last month because I was selling some of the same ASINs, restocking, and then I took like 5-10 grand and put it on a new ASIN. And then literally as soon as it got to Amazon, the listing got shut down. The inventory is still on Amazon. And we can't even remove it. There's 10 grand of my entire
Why
capital.
can't you remove it?
Well, I don't know why. It's because we're going to the shipment and we're trying to remove it and it's not letting us. It says it's not.
Is it still inbound? Maybe.
I must be still reconciling. This was like 3
Yeah, it's
weeks.
probably still inbound, still being processed because I've never once had them not allow me to remove something.
Yeah, so I think it's still reconciling. In a week or two, we'll probably get it out. But my point is, that's 10 grand I have locked up right now.
Yeah.
And I'll get it eventually. But like, I should have just put it into products I knew were selling.
Michaela, niche
Uh,
down.
Yeah. So what I usually recommend is to try them all out, or as many as you want to, and then niche down from there and get good at a few categories. Don't do like some people and they just do like one specific brand, because you're setting yourself up for disaster. And why do I know that? Because it happened to me when I was selling a lot of Nike stuff, and then Nike crashed over the summer last year. Well, after summer, it was like into the fall. And yeah, so don't do that. Make sure you
Wait,
kind
what
of
happened with Nike?
when Nike fell off right after back to school.
You're saying it fell off, just like less people were buying it?
No, like people were jumping on the listings and it was dying.
Yeah, it was
Gotcha.
literally
the Nike lessons are brutal.
so
Like,
many-
yeah, John, I was gonna say John knows.
I blame Warner and Miles for that.
Yeah, that was there. Yep, love you guys.
Yeah, this would be the offer count, ready?
Yeah, like literally. Yeah, it would be like steady for like the last year, and then it just gets
Mhm.
And the price is
miles. And the price.
Is it true that your account reserve has to pay out every 2 weeks? Yes, it's every 2 weeks. There are daily payouts, but almost always those daily payouts are for the last 2 weeks. So my accounts have always been, they pay bi-weekly. Taylor has daily payouts, but Taylor probably doesn't receive payment for anything from the last 14 days. Do you ever like if you have a 7K sales day, can you request funds like the next day for that? Michaela say no.
Yeah,
I can't.
Well, I'm gonna go with Michaela's answer.
I have no idea.
No, it takes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amazon's not stupid.
half
Amazon's
of that
always gonna
stuff's
hold
probably
your money.
pending. It's not even it's a payment
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So daily payouts are they're good, but it's still a 2-week hold.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who this is? Peter Dinklage. He thinks that Taylor looks like Peter Dinklage.
Let me see. I have to Google him.
I don't know who that is.
It's not very flattering. I looked him up. Taylor's gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Wait till you honestly think.
Oh
Listen,
man, that's not.
One time he commented on our stuff. He was like, "I've never seen Mark Zuckerberg and Peter
I
Dinklage
don't
hanging out."
I think that person just doesn't like me because there's literally zero resemblance.
No, he's a fan. He's
How
a
could you
fan
even?
of
This is such a stretch. Like, really?
ASD.
midget.
Anyone? Drop a 4 in the chat if you're going to ASD.
I'm
What's
offended.
ASD? What does ASD stand for? What does it stand for?
Oh, you asked me too fast.
Anyway, ASD is like all these vendors get together, basically like wholesalers, the brands, and a bunch of I'd say like maybe 10% of the people that go there are Amazon sellers, connecting with them. And so it's just a good way to meet suppliers. I went a few years ago.
It's a fun networking event for Amazon sellers.
Yeah, it is.
Other than Miami.
Sherry Steiner, our student, says, Taylor, I have a problem with the pricing and wanted to get the most instead of less than or equal the buy box to reduce or move inventory. Talk about that, please.
Wait, I have a problem with pricing and wanting to get the most instead of less than or equal to buy box.
So she's pricing a little bit higher than the buy box.
Okay. She wants to reduce or move inventory. Talk about this, please. I mean, I always just price if something's selling for $40 and it's buy boxing at 40, I'll match it and just wait, and then I'll wait a few days. And if I don't sell anything, then I'll drop it by, 50 cents a dollar, and I'll just wait. And I'll just experiment with where am I getting the buy box? And once I know that, then I'll just keep it there. Does that answer the question? I'm like,
well, I mean, yeah, you just gotta. I mean, the answer I feel like is kind of obvious: lower your price. But what'll happen is, like, if you're selling a certain product or even certain category, you'll be able to go above buy box price as long as you have a good reputation selling that brand or category. Amazon will rotate you the buy box. There was products I was selling where I would get buy box at $60 and the lowest price would be like 34. And they would rotate it. They would rotate it to both of us back and forth.
I'll be honest. I've actually never taken advantage of that, to be honest.
You have. I've seen you on ASINs.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Are you
the one we were selling last Q4?
But you get.
I was like, how is Taylor buy boxing? You were buy boxing at like 99, and I was I was like at $80, and you were like, dude, raise your price. And I'm like, I can't get the fucking buy box, dude. Let me get some sales. John, do you have any book inventory still? How did you push it?
Because I have 2 separate accounts, and I think the one account.
Be careful with that, guys.
There, that I don't think you want them because they've been there for like a year. I just have to decide what to do with the account, whether I should shut it down or just, I don't know. So I'm just holding on to it, and there's like, I don't know, $40 there. But yeah, how do you get rid of them? Like, you just have to remove them.
Mm-hmm. Or you can liquidate them now. Liquidating is the best option for
go to
books.
inventory or go to restricted inventory. See if anybody wants them.
No, don't send your shit to me, please. We actually don't accept removal orders anymore.
Oh, really?
If you find, yeah, we stopped because most of it's shit. If you find a product that's literally the same on Amazon, just the name's a little bit different, do you think I'll get a counterfeit claim? If you do get a counterfeit claim on that product, there's nothing you can do about it because if they're right, you are selling a product that is not the actual product. Be very careful with that. Most counterfeit claims for new items are not as scary as they sound if and only if your product's legit. Do you have a receipt? Do you have an invoice? If you do, you can fight it. If you have a used item, like a textbook, and you get a counterfeit claim, how the fuck are you going to prove it's not counterfeit? It's a used item. So if you're going to play this game and you know product counterfeit claims, only sell authentic products anytime, but don't sell products that are different at all. Make sure it has an instruction manual, make sure it has every single thing, because the skewed definition or the reaching definition for a counterfeit claim according to the brands is it's not exactly the same product. So be very careful with that. Sneaky
There's
tactic.
so much stuff out there to buy. Like, don't take the risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone says they only sell Nike products. What do you guys recommend other than Nike products?
Anything
It's
but
starting
Nike
to die down right after back to school.
Oh, I mean, clothing and apparel. I mean, there's so many brands in that.
I'm going to plead the fifth to that question.
Beauty.
Yeah, beauty. Anything else other than Nike products?
I loved you on Elf.
Oh.
Romer, come roll in Chicago. Hey, I will, man. I'm in Chicago frequently. Hit me up. Hit me up when you see me in Indiana. I'll come through Chicago. Did my first 10K month last month selling Gatorade bottles and Nike products, but now that summer's almost over, it's slowing down. Congrats. Diversify. Yeah. Keep looking for different products.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for my advice would be like, I know so many people selling different products that you wouldn't even consider. Just because everyone on YouTube's talking about Nike doesn't mean go after Nike. Yeah. Like, find some other products, find some other categories, find categories that you think would suck. And those will probably be the best.
Yeah, boring categories, boring things.
stay curious throughout your day. Like throughout the day, like you go to an office. Oh, I want scan shit. Find new brands. Oh, I wonder what this sells for. Oh, I wonder.
I also like to do when like we go out, just like see what people have on them. Like what are they
Can we jump?
wearing? What
Can we?
accessories do they have?
Oh, sorry, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I was gonna jump to Rebecca's comment. Taylor, you do not look like him. I just Googled him. Don't take the abuse. Thank you, Becca.
Where's Becca? I didn't even see that comment.
It's at the
Are you
bottom.
making that comment up?
No, it's at the
Oh,
bottom.
Rebecca.
Thank you, girl.
Oh, I feel like Taylor's got like a little soft spot in him, or a little you got a little upset when OA Troll called you Neanderthal, and now you're getting upset about being
You know
called
what?
this midget guy.
I actually didn't get upset about that. I think actually, you know what triggers me more is when people like I was on Xbox last night and this guy literally asked me if I was a girl, and then he asked me if I was transgender because I sound higher pitched. And
Wait,
that
OA Troll did, or who? Someone else on Xbox.
this is someone on Xbox, and I'm like, I'm actually offended right now, and I don't even know how to respond to you. He was like making fun of me, so I had to mute him. I was like, this is terrible. But anyways, This is a good question. What are you guys investing your profits?
Shout out Dave Can Read.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Michaela is buying some real estate. Michaela, it's my goal to buy. I don't own any real estate right now, and I want to. I'm pulling cash out and I'm putting it in a different bank account. My goal is to buy my first rental property, like in like 3 or 4 months. What advice do you have? For a beginner, I want to like make a smart move, but I also don't want to spend hours doing research. Like, what do you recommend?
First, you should have bought the rental property before buying the new bike, because you could have used the money you're making for your rental property to buy the bike. That's step number one.
Okay. Thank you.
So next time you want to buy something expensive like a car or whatever, you use your money for your rental property. You make your money work for you.
Okay, guys, hold on. I just want to point out, see how I'm being humble. I'm taking advice from someone else. Okay. So thank you, Michaela. Okay. Then what's step number 2?
Step number 2 is to immerse yourself in as much content as possible. So like Bigger Pockets, the forum, and they've got a YouTube channel. Those are like some of the best people I've found that like actually talk a lot about, all kinds of investing. It's not just, residential, like single family, there's multifamily, there's commercial, there's development, that, I mean, like there's so much to real estate. It just kind of depends on which area. It's kind of like niching, like, what I mean? Like what I'm doing is residential single family right now. And then eventually I want to go to, multifamily, and then I want to get into commercial, and then I would like to like do development and stuff. But
so you're basically buying and fixing and flipping.
Yeah. And so there's different ways of doing so too. There's BRRRRs, and there's, long-term holds. And then there's obviously flips, and then there's, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, long-term rentals, depending on kind of, there's Airbnbs, short-term.
Do you want to mentor me?
Sure.
What about you, John? What are you doing with your profits?
I'm working on a special project right now. Well, I'm not ready to announce, but
The special project.
So basically, you're it's a business venture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reinvest in it yourself.
I'm buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Upgraded my living situation. I live in a house now.
There you go,
An
John.
apartment.
Did you just
For me,
buy
it's all going back. Go to lister, baby.
That's my happiness.
John, did you just buy you just bought a house?
We're renting like a brand new townhouse.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't like the idea of buying.
Yeah.
I like the freedom and
Same.
Rebecca got that pick me energy. I remember you. I know you, Becky. Becky helped out with chlorine.
What did you say?
He doesn't even know her name, Becky.
No, Becky helped out with chlorine in 2021. I called her. She hit me up. She was one of my students for my course, and I paid her to go around. Where was it? Fort Worth, Texas. She went to all the Costco's out there. If you have capital storage units, Rock, I've heard that that's a good way to cash flow.
I've heard that too.
Where do you guys set min and max price on a repricer? I feel like if I don't set my price at 10% or so, I always end up getting less and have to work. Yeah, well, it just depends on what repricer you use, but almost all repricers have the option to upload min max prices. I always uploaded 20% ROI as my minimum price for like the first, I think it was like 60 days. And then after that, I would liquidate. With used books, I just set a flat price at like $10. What about you guys? What do you guys do with min-max prices?
That's exactly what I do. I use GoAura, and I just set a minute a max and let it go back and forth all day long. And then I'll usually liquidate after 60 days to break even, hopefully, or just take a small loss.
Taylor doesn't do min-max prices, but Taylor does a good job of liquidating when necessary.
Do you use a repricer, Taylor?
No, I tried one and I didn't really like it. So now I just kind of, that's why I do high volume stuff. I just try to find where that sweet spot is. Where can I be? And then I just sort of sit there, you know?
That's smart.
Yeah. Cause dude, I mean, so last year, when like April, when I was doing clothing and stuff and the sellers were getting on and I was constantly having to make decisions on, should I keep it? Should I it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't have like a set. It depends on the ASIN. Say like what money. I don't have like a 20% across the board kind of thing. It kind of just depends on that ASIN.
Do you guys mind if I show you the fastest listing software on the planet real quick?
Well, we would be honored first. Second,
drop a 1 in the chat if you want to see the fastest listing software. I'm only going to do it if they want it. We got Nicholas with a 1. Taylor Jones with the 1. Taylor Jones with the 1. Can you get an IP complaint if you have a distributor? Yeah, you can get an IP complaint. They don't care. Yeah. They don't care if you bought it from them. They'll IP you even if you bought it from them.
I thought I found like the best supplement deal and I bought from the distributor, and as I'm about to pay, he's like, hey, you can't sell this on Amazon. And I was like, oh, okay, I promise I won't. And I took it, sold it on Amazon. Next month, IP complaint. That was the stupidest thing.
You did psych.
Okay, I won't. I won't.
He warned me, and I was like, you know what? It was so stupid. I don't know why I did that.
Reverse.
All right, guys, give me 1 second. I gotta get my scanner.
Yeah, I think that was.
That's so funny.
Taylor, who do you think the OA troll is?
I don't know. It's so funny. Eric and Amazon thought it was me or Avery, and I was like, yo, when do you see me ever making fun of other people? I never talk about other people. I don't have the time or interest to do that. I don't know. I think they're definitely a seller. They definitely know, and they're pretty in the community, you know.
They know a lot of info, whoever it is.
They call me a stick figure.
I know. You know what, Michaela? They can be mean. But I feel like the best thing you know what though? I feel like the best thing you can do is totally own it. Like he made fun of me a couple times for like having my dad's house or parents' address, and I was like, you know what? He's actually right. You know, and then I just owned it on my story. And you know what? He's left me alone, or he or she, who knows who it is.
How dare you assume their gender?
I think it's a guy though, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're starting to use it as like a personal page now, which is really interesting. Like they were posting themselves at like a fucking rodeo.
I have a hunch who it is, but
who do you think it is, John?
Private chat. Put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I came across someone on YouTube, and there was just like some crossover. I'll probably
John, if you're in the private chat, John, I just messaged.
All right, guys. So here's GoToLister. I'm going to briefly go over how you can use it, and then I'm going to show you guys how you can list over 100 plus items in an hour with GoToLister. It's factually the fastest listing software on the planet. So all you do is go to create batch. You select FBA. We have smart pricing here. Smart pricing basically it prices your items higher if they sell faster. And if there's no FBA offers, we automatically price your item 20% higher. Somebody was asking about min-max pricing. You can set up those rules in the setting to automatically set your min prices at 20% or whatever you want, return on investment. This tracks all your buy costs, so it has your profitability and all that as well. And then for box content, I've heard that if you use box contents, if you provide Amazon with which items are in which box, they actually check in your items at warehouses faster. So be sure to do that. And then we'll create batch. And now we're inside of here. You guys can select whatever condition. If you guys are doing online arbitrage, select new. When I list books, I list everything is good. You can select whatever source. So let's say you got the item from Walmart, and then you enter the buy cost here. So let's just pretend that these are new items, because I actually did buy these books from a new bookstore down here. And then for new products, you don't need a condition description, but it does remember all your condition notes. So you can easily toggle between condition notes here. And I'm actually going to put myself up here real quick. See if we can do a side-by-side.
Guys, drop a 3 in the chat if you can't wait to start using GoToLister.
All right, let's see here. How do I want you guys can see my screen here. This is, just pay attention. Oh, crap. Where are we at?
Pillar's giving 3 in the private chat.
Go to.
Okay, if you guys look in the top left, you can see these are all the books I have.
So hold on, Avery, you gotta switch back because
No, I'm gonna get it.
oh, okay.
Boom. All right, guys, watch this. Watch this. This usually takes people, this is like a whole afternoon of work. Usually this takes people, I'm not joking, this will take people like 30 minutes to an hour to list these. Check this out.
Wow.
Now, of course, usually you would have like a Rollo printer, and I would be labeling these books, but you could also pay Amazon to label them. I don't recommend that, but I'm currently traveling here in Mexico, so I don't. But we're the only software that allows you to queue items in like this. All other softwares, they make you wait for Amazon's slow return time. So Inventory Lab, AccelerList, ScanLister, these other softwares, they take forever. GoToLister allows you to scan as fast as you want. And boom, like that. All those books listed. If I had my printer here, obviously I would have to label them. Now, as you can see, there's a few that have issues. So if you're restricted in any products, they'll come up here. Or if there's multiple titles for the product, you can select the correct one. So in this case, it's that book there. And then you can select whatever book. So these are all ISBNs that have 2 ASINs. And then you can also easily request approval from here. You can see your batch data. You can flex it on social media. This is already at $1,500 profit. Now what you can do is click on send batch. This is going to send it over to Amazon. Then you can click on accept shipment. And then you can provide box contents, print your labels. You can actually provide the box weights within GoToLister. As you can see, everything's going to one warehouse. Click on accept shipment. Boom. We're good to go. You can also track your profitability with GoToLister. So as long as you're entering your buy cost, your accurate buy cost on the front end, it's going to tell you what your true profit is here. And I have a special offer for everyone that's watching today and who's watching the replay. And that is if you email us at support@gotolister.com. First, you have to sign up. So go to gotolister.com, 100% free trial. You can cancel anytime. You won't get charged. Everyone who signs up now, or if you're watching the replay, this offer stands for you too. We have a replan sheet. So this is more of like an OA wholesale type training. If you look here, a lot of people don't know what they have a 30-day supply of. A lot of people wait until they stock out of items to buy more. If you use GoToLister, there's 2 reports you can download directly from GoToLister. It's your listing data. Obviously, we're a listing software. We know all the items you've listed. And sales data. We allow you to download this directly from GoToLister. All you have to do is upload those right here under listing data and sales data. And then it's going to tell you exactly which items you need to buy more of in order to have a 1-month supply. So this is huge. Like if you run out of stock and then you buy more, it might take a month before the items get active again. That's a long time. That's a month of no sales on an ASIN. So I would just check this once a week, and any items that you need to buy more of, we have a formula that looks at the last time you sold the product and the 7 days before that. It multiplies it by 4, and it calculates what your month supply of that product would be. And so this is a great way to stay in stock, a way to keep your profits high. Everybody who messages us, Reselling Bootcamp at support. Actually, let's do advanced reselling bootcamp. If you message us advanced reselling bootcamp at support@gotolister.com, we'll give you this spreadsheet for free. So that's my offer for you guys today. And we'll also give you a 30-day extended trial if you guys do that. So if you email us support@gotolister.com, advanced reselling bootcamp, we'll give you a 30-day trial, and my team will also give you this replay sheet. Back to the show. Boom. What do you guys think?
Fastest listing software out there.
Lit.
Is the accounting on point? Accounting, yeah, it shows your gross profit, and we're working on full tax features by the end of the year. So no pun intended. By the end of the year, you will have end of year reporting with GoToLister. Are you a blue belt? Yes, I am, but I tap black belts. Get this man on Shark Tank. You guys are my sharks. What do you guys think about my business?
Looks good.
It's good. I'd invest.
We might be partnering with Oregon Prep and Ship soon, guys. We're trying to come up with something there. People, they what's it called? Prep centers need listing softwares, and it's in a tax-free state, so it's great for my audience. So shout out to Oregon Prep and Ship. OregonPrepandShip.com. Is that where they can go for that?
That's our competitor, Avery.
Oh, my bad. Scratch that.
I was like, who the hell is
OregonPrepCenter.com.
Yes.
Oregon Prep.
It
I'm
is literally
sorry.
our competitor, though.
Michaela's going to kill me. Wait, who's got better rates, though?
I don't know.
Do you enter generic sales price when rapid listing? No, we use smart pricing, so it automatically prices your items higher if they sell faster. This is really good for used books because nobody wants to price used books. If the used book sells fast, we price it higher. So our first trigger starts at FBA offer 4. So if your book is between 1 and 125,000, which is an extremely fast selling book, we'll price it at FBA offer 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. I'm a Sudanese Sudanese seller.
No.
We'll go to lister work in my region. No.
Do you know what
I'm glad,
means?
I'm glad I didn't pronounce the U like
That's what it's
wanted
supposed to be.
who was that? Jerry?
It's Sudanese.
Yeah. You said it for me. He got you, not me. What's the difference between going from sales tax free prep center then getting you can't get tax exempt on a lot of these websites. Like these websites don't want you purchasing from them. Kohl's, Walmart actually will give you tax exemption, but these other websites, they don't want resellers to purchase from them, so they're not going to give you tax exemption. That's why it's important to use Oregon Prep Center. Had to be careful with that.
Yes, don't give our competitor any.
Any other questions, y'all, before we get out of here? We can wrap this up. Appreciate y'all coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep.
100%. Oh, we got some love coming in here for GoTo.
Let's go.
Already on it. GoToLister is a complete game changer.
Boom.
Yeah, so we're coming up with the plan for Miami next year. And we're coming up with the speaker lineup. But yeah, we do want Gary Vee there. We're looking at a venue for at least 300 people, 300 to 500 people. We want both of you there, obviously. And
I'll be there. I don't know what Michaela's doing.
No, Michaela's coming.
I might be riding in on my yacht.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, we might not. Can we just use that as a yacht this year then?
Yeah.
So we don't have to pay for it.
No,
Sponsored by Oregon Prep Center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go.
Maybe we can partner up.
Y'all should sponsor us for real, for real.
I'll have to talk to
I'm
him.
old. If I get on the floor, I might not get up. Does GoToLister work as fast off the floor. Hey, it works in the sky. It works on yachts. It works on the moon. I say it's factually the fastest software on the earth, but I really think it's probably the fastest in the universe.
The best.
All right, guys, we'll call that a wrap. Appreciate you guys coming on. Be sure to subscribe to FBA Michaela, John, Mr. Taylor Jones, and we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Are you still selling lifetime access? Yeah, you'll see it when you go to checkout. It's not lifetime access, it's annual access.
Mhm.
Peace out, guys.
See you
Peace.
guys.